I'm kind of more interested about like on-chain risk management. Kind of, how do you guys think about that? Especially, when you're getting into these LP pools. Are you guys looking into smart contracts, or kind of how do you think about that aspect of it?
Yeah, good question. So there's a couple ways to look at things on chain. Um, First off, there's a lot of sophisticated players in the crypto space that are extremely smart. That are big liquidity providers like Uniswap, other dexes, different protocols, and like the dealing with impermanent loss is it's a difficult game to really deal with because crypto's so volatile. Essentially, if like you deposit, let's say like an ETH and it's worth $2,000, and you deposit like $2,000 with a stable coin, like you don't necessarily know what will happen in the next couple of days, weeks, or months here with volatility. Like this pool might get imbalanced where you might end up getting more ETH, but the market's gone down a shit ton, so you've lost a bunch of money, like an impermanent loss sense. So you're basically like I don't think necessarily being a liquidity provider is maybe like the best thing to do for most people. Where we see the best risk reward in our biased opinion is using stable coins to be like an early backer of a project. Like essentially you could have market neutral approach. You put in your stable coins, USDC, you're taking on smart contract risk, which is a whole nother animal. And yeah, I mean, you have to be careful. Like, so I'll go into the smart contracts next, but basically the way we kind of approach it is like the risk reward you're taking on is you're taking on smart contract risk, you'd be taking on stable coin risk, and maybe opportunity cost if you could deploy your capital elsewhere. But when we look at it, we like doing it with stable coins because the market can go like this and that. But if you've got your stable coins at the end of the day, like you're getting pretty good market neutral approach potential returns. But then, in your point earlier, Mike, about smart contract risk, yeah, it's a real thing. So you have to look at it a couple. We look at it a couple different ways. Like first off, you kind of want to know who like the team is behind it. Like have they done our project before? Are they anon or not anonymous? There's pros and cons to that. Like I mean, I get the crypto ethos, but if they're anonymous and they've launched other projects before and they haven't rugged you, okay, you can probably trust them. Then there's outside audits. So like, there's a couple of different ways, and like in our higher level philosophy is that the less code, the better when you're deploying into a smart contract or reading a smart contract, because all you're doing if you have a very large smart contract here and it's just lines and lines and lines of code, it's basically just adding new attack vectors each line of code you have. So the simpler, the dumber it is, the better odds of it not being hacked because there's less lines of attack, less lines to attack. And then one of the other metrics that we do look at that like it's not obviously like nothing's perfect in terms of you got to do your own due diligence, but nothing's perfect. You never know what could happen. But like TVL, total value locked, like if there's tens of millions or hundreds of millions or billions of dollars deployed onto this smart contract, it's probably a pretty resilient smart contract because every hacker and their mother is probably trying to exploit something that's got a couple $1 billion there. And if they haven't, well, maybe that's because the smart contracts were written well. So there's a lot of different ways to kind of approach smart contract risk, and I think like there'll be better and better tools out there. There'll be better and better audits as the space gets better. However, it's still right now it's still it's still to a certain extent it's still the wild west if you're going early on in these protocols. Like if you're not doing full blown audits yourself, so you have to be careful about what kind of risk you take on, and you have to look at it from like a risk management standpoint. You can't put all your eggs in one basket.